Sarah had always been enchanted by the Victorian house at the end of Willow Lane. Its faded grandeur, its haunting architecture. It had captivated her imagination since childhood. When the house finally went on the market, she ignored the wary looks from neighbors and brushed off whispered warnings of tragedy. She bought it without hesitation. Renovations began immediately. The promise of restoring the mansion consumed her every thought. But soon, Sarah's excitement turned to unease. Small incidents. Doors slamming without reason. Faint whispers drifting through empty halls. Cold spots in rooms bathed in sunlight. They began to erode her sense of peace. Her sleep became restless. Her dreams filled with unseen eyes, watching her from the dark. And then came the scratching. Subtle at first, but it grew louder, more desperate. A relentless clawing beneath her bedroom floorboards. She assumed it was rats, set traps, poison. But nothing worked. One night, exhausted, delirious, she could take no more. She grabbed a flashlight and approached the crawlspace hatch. Her hands trembled as she lifted the old, rusted door. The hinges screamed in protest, and the smell hit her. Rot, decay, something ancient and wrong. She shined her light into the darkness, and there, she saw them. Bones, hundreds of them, piled high, twisted together with torn garments, toys, old photos, all covered in mildew and dust. She gasped, staggered backward, and that's when she heard it. A whisper, software close, almost affectionate. "We've waited so long for you, Sarah." Then movement. Something shifted in the dark. Fingers, not attached to any living hand. Bone, reaching out, wrapping around her ankles, her wrists, her waist. She screamed. She clawed at the floor, desperately trying to pull herself free. But the crawlspace pulled harder, stronger, and just before her fingernails scraped the edge of the floor, the hatch slammed shut, sealing her in, and the house returned to silence until the scratching begins again. Passenger 42. Jack loathed red-eye flights, the cramped seats, the recycled air, the eerie stillness of a half-empty cabin. Tonight felt worse than usual. Wrong, somehow. He hadn't even bothered to unpack his carry-on. He just wanted to sleep, to wake up, land, and forget the night ever happened. But sleep didn't come easily. The low hum of the engines, the occasional cough, even the soft clicks of a seatbelt. Every sound echoed like a whisper in a tomb. Eventually, exhaustion won out. He drifted off, but only briefly. Jack woke suddenly, an icy breath against his neck. Sharp, purposeful. He flinched and turned toward seat 42B. Empty, but the seatbelt, it was swinging, swaying gently, as if someone had just stood up. His mouth went dry. He pressed the call button. Once, twice, 3 times. No one came. And then, a voice. Low, dry, rasping. "We land together, Jack." He froze. There was no one beside him, but the words were clear, close, too close. He fumbled with his seatbelt, but it wouldn't budge. Not jammed, not twisted, just stuck. He pulled harder. Still nothing. Then, movement. Across the aisle. Passengers rising. Slowly. Silently. But their faces weren't right. Blurry. Smoothed over. As if someone had painted over their features and forgotten to finish. They turned toward him and began to walk. No footsteps. Just gliding. Jack turned to look around, but no one else moved. Everyone else was sitting upright. Eyes wide open. Mouths slightly parted. Still. Empty. And then, the plane began to descend. Too fast. Too steep. The cabin trembled. The lights flickered. Jack looked out the window. No stars, no city lights, no clouds. Just black. Endless. Churning. And again the voice. We land together. A whisper, a chant, a promise. Over and over. He screamed, but nothing came out. No sound. No air. The aisle darkened. The cabin stretched like wax under heat, and the passengers kept moving. Closer. Closer. Faceless. Silent. Certain. And the plane descended into a place where no one lands. Only arrives. Autumn walk. Lisa loved her nightly autumn walks. The way the leaves crunched beneath her boots. How the cool air kissed her cheeks. And how the woods near her university always felt quiet, safe, almost sacred. That night, the moon hung low, round and heavy, casting pale silver light across the trail. She followed the familiar path, hands in her coat pockets, headphones off. She liked hearing the world breathe. The trees swayed gently. The wind stirred leaves in small, circling dances. It was peaceful. Still. But something felt off. Halfway through the trail, she noticed something strange in the dirt beside her. Footprints, bare, bloody, fresh, right beside her own. Her breath caught. She stopped walking. So did they. The prints just stopped, right next to hers. She turned, slowly. The trail behind her was empty. The trees silent. Not even a bird call. Not even wind. A trick of the light, maybe. She tried to shake it off, but her skin prickled with unease. Lisa took a cautious step forward. Crunch. Another step beside her. Crunch. She froze. There was no one there, but something was matching her. Pace for pace. She quickened her steps. The prints beside hers kept forming. Still bare. Still wet with blood. Her heart pounded louder than her footsteps now. She broke into a jog, then a run. The forest blurred past her. Branches clawed at her coat. Roots tried to trip her. And the prints kept coming. Faster. She stumbled, just slightly. Just enough. That's when it grabbed her. A cold hand wrapped around her wrist. She screamed, twisted free, spun around. No one was there. Only the wind and the rustling trees. And then, a voice. Low. Right behind her ear. Stay. Another hand, colder, closed around her ankle. She dropped to the ground, fingers digging into the dirt, trying to crawl away. The trail was right there, just ahead, but it felt miles away. The hands pulled harder. Her screams vanished into the trees. Then silence. The woods stood still again. Only the wind moved. Only the leaves stirred. And on the path, footprints kept forming. One set, then another. Side by side. As if someone was still walking. Not ahead. Not behind. But next to you.
The late shift. Mike hated the night shift. Graveyard hours at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. Just him, the buzzing fluorescent lights, and a microwave burrito that somehow tasted worse each time. It was quiet. Too quiet. The freezer hummed in the back. The ceiling lights flickered every few minutes, and the clock above the cigarette rack ticked loudly, as if it was the only thing left awake. 2:43 a.m. That's when she walked in. A woman, late 30s maybe, wearing a torn winter coat, her hair damp and tangled, her cheeks streaked with soot. Her eyes were wide, wild. Her hands were shaking. Mike straightened up behind the counter. She didn't say a word. She just walked to the back of the store, grabbed 2 items, a pack of matches and a red plastic gas can. Then, without hesitation, she placed them gently on the counter and looked up at him. Her eyes met his, and she smiled. Not the kind of smile that says thank you, the kind that says I know something you don't. Mike blinked. You all right, ma'am? She didn't answer, didn't blink, just slid a crisp 20 across the counter. It looked brand new, too new, almost fake. He took it without a word. She turned and walked out, into the fog, into the dark, gone. He watched her disappear, tried to shake it off. But then, sirens, far off, somewhere down the road. And then, the glow. Orange light rising behind the trees, flickering against the clouds. Fire. Mike stepped outside for a better look, eyes fixed on the distant blaze. And when he turned back, she was there, standing at the glass door, smiling. Her clothes were scorched now, skin blistered, hair blackened and smoldering. But her eyes, they hadn't changed. Calm, certain, empty. In her hand, another gas can. He stumbled back into the store. "Ma'am, what the hell are you?" But she didn't speak. She stepped inside and began walking the aisles, slowly, deliberately, pouring gasoline down each row, onto the tile, the snacks, the shelves, his shoes. She lit a single match, held it, looked over her shoulder, and whispered, "Your shift ends now." The match dropped, and the fire took everything. The shelves, the walls, his scream. Outside, through the flames, figures began to gather. Dozens, standing in the fog, watching silently. Their faces were blank, their eyes hollow. They didn't speak, they didn't move. They just watched as the station burned, and Mike's shift finally ended.